Welcome to the fly tying night on Leland Fly Fishing. My name is Doug Kinney, and I'm going to be tying up my variation of Pritchards Western Angler Hairwing Steelhead fly on the new Moonlit Togatta ML831 size 6 Barbless Alec Jackson style hook. Before we get started, if you find any value in this video, please make sure to like it, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for future notifications. This helps us as we are working to add value into the community, and it means a lot to us. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the new Moonlit 831 Togatta, size 6, return eye. We're going to go ahead and start our thread right behind the return eye and take it back to the 0 point. These barbless hooks have a little bit longer point than the hooks with the barbs, and so you'll have to adjust your fly tying style accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there at the point. The tail on this is red calf tail. I'm just going to advance this a little further back, a little bit past the point. I'm going to snip off a small clump of red calf tail. I'm not going to stack it, as I like the natural taper that it gives me straight off the tail. And again, this is up to personal preference on the thickness. I'll kind of show you what I like. You do want to clean the under fur out though. And I'll kind of pull some of the longer stragglers out. I like this to extend just slightly past the hook bend. I'm going to get some more of these stragglers out of the way real quick. This is a real hairy, buggy fly, so don't worry about a lot of the stragglers if you have quite a bit. I'm going to tie this on top of the hook shank, and I'm going to terminate right where the return eye ends. And as you tie this, you might have to tease the fibers where they need to be. Little straggler there, let's get rid of him. Okay, I'm going to return to the back of the hook. And I'm going to tie in my rib, which is medium oval tinsel. Currently I'm using Semperfli medium oval tinsel in silver. And I'm going to tie it on the hook shank closest to me. And again, I'm going to make sure that it terminates right behind that return eye, right like that. And this will have a tendency to roll around the hook shank, so you just got to take your time and make sure it all lines up. Okay, next material is going to be Semperfli Micro Fritz in black. This is a great material. It's all synthetic. It adds a little bit of volume, a little bit of bugginess, but without a lot of bulk, and because it's synthetic, it doesn't absorb water. As I progress through my fly tying evolution, I've liked using more synthetic materials that don't soak up water. Because I throw this on a two-handed rod, I really like the fact that the flies that don't absorb a lot of water, you can pull them out of the water easier on your anchor, thus making it easier to cast. Again, I'm going to tie this on the side of the hook shank. It's going to terminate right behind the return eye. And again, make sure it doesn't roll around the hook shank. Take your time. You want to fish good looking flies, and you want to fish flies that make you feel good to fish. A friend once told me, you want to have confidence in your flies, that's all it takes. And I would agree with that. Okay, as you can see there, I've got a pretty uniform, even body from that return eye all the way back. No bumps. I'm going to advance my thread down the return eye. And now I'm going to wrap in that body material, that micro fritz. And I'm wrapping this pretty tight. It'll give you a good solid body. In the original design they used chenille. You can also use chenille if you'd like. Probably ultra chenille is going to be the stuff to use. It's a little bit thinner than regular chenille. Okay, I'm going to stop right at the return eye, just a little bit past it, and tie this off. This fly has a double wing, and I'll show you that here in just a second. It'll make sense. Okay, next we're going to wrap in that rib. 5 turns is the old traditional equivalent of how many turns you want to do, but it's by eye, so you can do as many as you want. Secure that. Next we're going to tie in our wing. Because this is a double wing, I like to tie in wing, hackle, wing, and what that does is it gives me a uniform body with a smaller head moving towards the front. And so the first thing we'll do is we'll start with white calftail. You can also use bucktail or polar bear or even synthetic material if that's what you like to do. Again, it's all personal preference. I like my wings just to the back of the hook where the hook bend is. So about right there. Put 2 or 3 locking wraps in. Take a look at your wing, make sure that looks right. It does, okay. I'm going to go underneath the wing. Do a couple securing locking wraps there. You can kind of tug on your wing a little bit and kind of see what it's going to do. That's set real nice. Don't worry about the stragglers. Let me go ahead and I'm going to cut that. Next, you want to tie in your hackle. Now I chose to use purple silver pheasant. You can use schlappen, you can use hen, basically anything you got that kind of is the right size. So this is a size 6. I want my hackle to be right about at the hook point or slightly before it. Again, that's a personal preference. I like my hackle sparse and a little bit shorter. But use what you got and do what you like. I like to tie this stuff in by the tip. So I've prepared this feather, and you tie it on the side of the hook shank. And then I like to bend the tip over and do a securing wrap, just like that. And I'm going to cut out that tip. Well, actually, I'm going to give it a little bit of a tug. And maybe one more wrap to secure that. There we are. Okay, now you can choose to use hackle pliers if you want. Because I prepared this feather, I've got a nice long bare stem to hold on to. And I'm just going to kind of sweep these hackle barbs back. Kind of fold them a little bit and take your time and go ahead and just wrap the hackle. Again, you're going to wrap anywhere from 2 to 4 turns. It's all personal preference. Again, you do what looks good. And this is kind of a wild feather, so you kind of have to preen it back a little bit. Just like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Go ahead and clip that stem. I'm going to kind of preen this back a little bit. Now I'm going to wrap up to the hackle. I'm not going to wrap over the hackle. Okay, I'm going to tie in my second wing now. And the reason why I don't tie one wing on top of the other is you've got a big gap here. And so if you tie your hackle on first and two wings, you've got a huge amount of space with material on top of the hook shank and none on the bottom. And it makes for a really big head. If you tie it in layers like this, it makes for a smaller head and it just looks nicer in my opinion. And for the second wing, we're going to use orange calf tail. And this is going to be a shorter wing, so you don't need much. It's only going to be about half the size of the first wing, or in this case, about as long as the purple hackle fibers. Give it 2 or 3 turns right there. Look at it, make sure everything looks good. If it doesn't, just unwrap it and redo it. That looks pretty close. I think I might want to make my wing just a little shorter. So we'll just pull that back up. You're better off just unwrapping it and then kind of reclumping it and then resetting it versus pull it through the thread, because you're always going to lose a few that way. That's it right there. Okay, a couple more walking thread wraps here underneath. We're going to trim this wing. Okay, now you're just going to make a nice, tidied up little head. You don't want to go crazy here, as you don't want a giant head. You just want enough. And this is where having a rotary vise is kind of nice, because you can turn it and see what's going on all sides. Okay, when it looks good, go ahead and double check everything and then give it a good whip finish. I like to use my old Thompson whip finisher. It's what I learned on, it's just what I'm proficient with, and I like it. Okay, once you get it whip finished, go ahead and clip your thread and then give it a coat of head cement of your choice. I like to use a lacquer base like they did in the olden days. So like Sally Hansen Hard as Nails or this Hard as Hull works really good. You can always use super glue. Basically, you know, whatever you got, go ahead and use it. Anyway guys, that's the Pritchards Western Angler. Thank you for watching, and again we want to invite you to find value in this video. Please make sure to like it, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for future notifications. This helps us as we are working to add value into the community, and it means a lot to us.
That one was even faster.
Was it?